Wade's my chiropractor. I was at Life University, Life East, and I was sharing with some students, and I didn't know Wade really well. We met maybe 15 years ago at camp with Dr. Arnaud Bernier, and I loved you already, but I didn't really know you that well. And I asked you for an adjustment. And I'm like, yeah, he's probably a great chiropractor. I don't know a whole lot. He took me into one of the auditoriums at Life University and gave me an adjustment, and it changed my life. And I looked up at him and I said, you're my chiropractor. And since then, I've just loved you. I love you. And I was so excited to have you join my podcast. So please share, who are you? Where are you? What do you do? What's your experience on the planet? My brother.
It doesn't get old, you referring to me like that. Sometimes it makes me squirm a little bit because it's often in the presence of some human beings that are maybe falsely put on pedestals, or just that I have mad amazing respect for, and so just you never know, right? That one seemingly little dance that we did together makes an impact, and it's more like 25 years ago, Jody. Sorry for reminding you how long ago it was that we met.
Years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Add a decade. Aren't we fortunate, right? And something really forged in those groups of people who went out on those limbs, if you will, out on the edges together in the camps with Arno, that we could not see each other for decades. And there was a bond, and unspoken, that's just so treasured and so lasting. And I think that's what groups like and platforms like Staffless Practice is ushering, is more of that depth of sacredness and connection. And yes, there's going to be logistics and nuances for businesses and practices and all that stuff, but the soul that which you bring to all this speaks volumes, and compared to how to have your phone answered when you're not available,
What
but
makes
me,
yeah
like you just reflected on, I'm a high school dropout, going back I'm a multi-dimensional being and soul that's dropped into this plane with all you other silly folks, and trying to navigate this realm with as much joy and love as I can, and allow for all my messes to be my message, and just enjoy being.
Do you ever get annoyed?
Sure.
What do you do with it?
Observe it mainly, and ideally chuckle at it.
Do you laugh at it? Is the time that you laugh at it shorter than it was, say, 10 years ago?
Well, I looked at that as far as, hey, where are you in relationship to maybe the joy and the divine comedy of it all, is maybe how I'll refer to it, which helps me keep a perspective on aggravation or annoyance of that's healthy, perhaps, and ability to laugh at myself, at others, and my own annoyances. But I'll tell you a quick story that I know you'll appreciate. I'm a teenager, or I'm 20 years old, and I'm in Ackworth, Georgia, which is out near Lake Allatoona, where we were living at the time. And I'm in my Volkswagen bus. My hair is down to here, tie-dye on, and I've got a sticker on the back of my car. One of them says, "Love animals, don't eat them." And the other one says, "Enjoy being." And this little truck pulled up next to me, and I'm in a VW van, so it's kind of high. And he's on my left, and in a little teeny truck. And I can see this old country man. He's struggling to stick his head out the side of the car window, And he says, enjoy being what? And that was my response too. And I just chuckled. And, who am I? Yeah, I understand a multidimensional being that's inhabiting this plane and having this construct of laws and stuff for a while, but I really do understand and am coherent to all the programming that I've received in my life, and can see how much that natural essence of joy that children embody so well has gotten a stranglehold on it more and more and more. And so I really appreciate you sparking that joy and the remembrance of our natural essence and way of being, and in and around the realms of bringing a not just sovereign but solvent business to the world in a meaningful, impactful way. So thank you for this continued dialogue that
Oh,
you bring.
that's sweet. I that's what I look for from people, is the ability to be silly and childlike, especially when they're not supposed to be. Like, the inappropriateness of it is like, it's absolutely my jam. It's my favorite thing to see in people. What do you mean by multidimensional being? What does that mean?
Oh, I think that, look, I think it's just ways that I need those pattern interrupters in my life. It's so, you speak a lot, I speak a lot, and it's almost a way to remind myself that the power of I am is I'm learning year after year more about the significance of the I am. And so, I might be in a crowd or a circle and everybody's going around and introducing, who are you? What do you do? Blah. And, it gets so rote, domesticated. And so, often for my own pattern interrupt, I might say something like, they call me Wade. Like, let's be real. That's not who I am. That's not what I am. It's a name that I go by here. And so, I'll say stuff like that, not to get into a whole quantum mechanics and soul spirit, dialogue around it. But I think I need those constant reminders.
I am. I like to say to kids, who do you want to be when you grow up, instead of what do you want to be when you grow up?
That's
And
right.
it trips them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it's my mom or my dad or the policeman or whatever it might be. And um, I'm still figuring that out. I feel like the older I get, the more I identify pieces of who I want to be when I grow up.
Mm.
Like, the mentors that you and I have in common, they have a theme. There's a theme to that. Like, they have consistencies throughout them, and who they are, who they were, who they still are everywhere. And a lot of it is the joy, specifically of chiropractic, like the love for chiropractic. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Tell us about your love for chiropractic, your love for being a chiropractor, especially for the people who don't know much about chiropractic at all.
Yeah. The hyper synchronicity of life, which I keep a serendipity and synchronicity journal, and that's helpful for me to cast my vision. Right, the world we live in is the one we choose by virtue of the vision we use. So if my vision is cast upon synchronicity and serendipity, then I'm going to find more. I'm going to see more. It's going to be more present in
Can
my
you say
life.
that
And
again, though? Say that again. The world.
the world we live in is the one we choose by virtue of the vision we use. And so it came right at a right time when I was a teenager to experience chiropractic for the first time. And I was already in a very, I was writing poetry. I was naturally passionate and caring and had depth and wanted more, and didn't feel at home totally in societal constructs, and whether it was church but I didn't just cast it off. I thought about it. I looked at the writings down here in the Bible Belt, I would look at the signs and I would think about it, and I would inquire, now, well, how does that fit with me? So I was, and Emerson and Thoreau, these were, authors I was interested in. And so, whatever existential type of place. So when I experienced chiropractic for the first time with little to no words of explanation, like virtually no explanation, just lay on the table. And it really was this alchemy and amalgam of everything that I knew to be true. It, in a way, gave a voice to. It gave a practical construct to, and a compass for life. And what that was is the principle. So I personally can't and won't and don't separate my own personal spiritual journey in life, which most people have, whether they're conscious of it or not, with chiropractic. And in the profession itself, that can draw a lot of shade from a lot of people who want to do everything they can to separate out our own spiritual journey with the science, art, and philosophy of chiropractic. Well, for me, I'm sorry, not sorry. They're one and the same, because the principles we teach and preach in chiropractic are the principles of life. So I don't feel the need to try to separate those two things out. And whether that's fine for some people to do it, or whether that some people do that because they're still operating from their wound and their need to be approved of and accepted. And I would hope that could be taken a look at, because I don't think the world is craving more of a dogmatic construct of a science of even their neurophysiology, like pardon me very much. Some of them will be interested in that, and that might be, for a few, a pathway to self-liberation and self-discovery and freedom. But I haven't experienced that is a path to liberation and freedom for the majority, is having a detailed understanding, knowing what you and I know about neurophysiology. Doesn't seem to be that path. Went off on a little
I
side
love it.
there.
I love it. It's like you're singing a song and it just takes over. It's cool. So what do you say to the person who's like, well, I don't need a chiropractor, I don't have back pain?
Well, I definitely get into the Socratic thing, is asking questions. And it's kind of similar to the person who is new to the practice, which, just like you, our field is so coherent that we rarely attract somebody to our practice that's not like already all in and so-called pre-qualified. But for the the stereotypical older man, I attract some golfers and such who might not necessarily run in the circles that we run in, and they might pass by my adjusting suite on their way to receive their first visit, and might come when I come in the room, they'll be like, "Now, doc, does that baby you were working on back there have back pain?" And I'll say, well, no, most likely not, and I certainly hope not. And I can just tell the question is like, well, what are you doing with that baby in there? And I just, it'd be a simple dialogue of, well, if that neurospinal system that is developing so rapidly is responsible for every single organ, cell, tissue, and system that's going to be developed for the rest of that baby's life, how soon do you think we should check it to make sure it's functioning the best it can? And they, well, right away. And I say, well, I agree with you. And those parents in there also agree with you. They feel the same way. So, that's a similar dialogue to somebody who says, well, hey, knock on wood, I haven't needed one of you so far. And, sometimes it's as simple as, good for you type of deal. But I think it's easy to scratch the surface a little bit, lean in, ask a few questions, and On my first visit, I have people tell me what chiropractic is. I don't tell
Mhm.
anybody what chiropractic is. I ask them questions and they end up telling me the principle of chiropractic.
Mm.
It works out better that way.
What kind of questions do you ask them?
I mean, it can be as simple as, what do you think chiropractors do? Right. And well, and it could be like, well, they crack necks. I say, well, now my humor, right? Well, I'm pretty sure if I crack necks, I'd be in jail or something like that. Oh, well, they adjust the back and, just taking it down well, why do you think we're so focused on the back? And what's another name for it? Oh, spine. Yeah, why do you think we're so picky about the health and the shape of your spine? Well, uh, everything's connect. Yeah, it's the literal backbone, right? It's the anchor, the structure. But what's even more important than that? It might be like, wiggle your toes.
Yeah.
How'd you do that? Well, um, the messages went through my spine. Where'd they come from? Well, my brain. Now we could go further into that, like where they came from. Well, yeah. So and then I just be
Wait,
like,
okay, wait a second. Where do they come from? Wait.
yeah. I mean, I love the. Hey, a lot of people will tell you that the brain and nervous system is what controls, coordinates, and animates every cell, organ, tissue in the body. It's mostly true, right? But this is just I don't go there right away with everybody, but I can tell who's inquisitive to this and who it might be a stepping stone to a pathway of self-liberation and freedom.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then I'm going to just keep dropping breadcrumbs and for the remembering and like, well, if I got a hose here and I'm over there and it's leading toward those bushes out there, is the hose nourishing those bushes? Well, no. What is? They say, well, the water. I said, well, that's kind of how your brain and nervous system is. Your brain's a big blob of fat, water, proteins, and neurons. And as you know, our teachers would already tell us, if somebody drops dead right there, they still have a brain and nervous system. Hell, they're still warm and they've got a heart, but is it still continuing to control, coordinate, and animate? And the answer is no. And so what's missing? Here's our triune of life between intelligence, matter, and then that special ingredient that makes the triune be of life, is life force. And so then we can get into that kind of simple construct and just being like, life is stressful, can throw us out of balance. That's my ABC. Jody, your body is so wicked smart. It knows how to take care of you. Life is stressful, can throw us out of balance, keep you from doing, and having whatever you love in this life. And I'm here to help you be more balanced so you can be, do, and have whatever you love in this life. That's the
It doesn't
chiropractic
need to be any more than that.
in
It
a
really
nutshell.
doesn't need to be any more than that.
Yeah, it's super.
Sometimes I just say, I don't know, go face down. Let's check it out. Like,
Sure.
sometimes I feel like the less I talk, the less trouble I get myself in. And if I can just shut up and let the adjustment do its thing, because truly that's where it happens, right? It doesn't happen with me telling them about it. It happens with me sharing an adjustment with them. And so the less I talk and the less I think I know, the better well aligned I am to deliver the adjustment and get out of the way. Like, let it do its thing. What would you say makes you a great ambassador for the Joy-Filled Way?
I'm pretty decent at saying no.
Mm.
And so I think boundaries is a big piece of being an ambassador of the Joy-Filled Way. And I think, yeah, I think, what's coming up is what's keeping people, what's the missing ingredient for a lot of people not experiencing more joy in their life is they don't have permission. They haven't given themselves permission, or someone like you hasn't come along and said, you have permission to be abundantly joyful. And I mean, this unpacks plenty of stuff for people. And really, people have been taught for so long that, hey, look, there's people suffering in this world. You have no right to be joyful. Where, It's like the other way around. It's like, um, uh, do I get, do I get, it's like which order does it happen in, right? Do I get well because I started working out, or did I start working out because I got well, right? And well, maybe I have a birthright of joy, and I'm not doing the world any good by extinguishing that, by not allowing that at all. Maybe that's what's perpetuating darkness in the world, and is because enough people have been falsely lied to and told that they're not worthy of joy, or it's not appropriate for them to experience that. And so now it's just an easily perpetuated cycle. Um,
I'm going to spitfire some questions. You ready?
yes.
What did you have for breakfast today?
For breakfast, I had a banana and peanut butter and collagen and some sort of non-dairy milk with some vanilla and cinnamon and sea salt.
In the past 24 hours, what was the most fun that you had?
Practice. I've been out of the country for 2 weeks, and yesterday I had a busy day in the practice, and
It's fun, isn't
my
it, Wade?
practice is joy-filled.
Yeah, it's fun. It's so
Yeah.
fun.
Hey, that's perfect. That the joy-filled practice. To ask your guest, the
Get
most
it?
fun was practice. So,
It's the joy-filled
all right.
practice. What time did you wake up this morning?
I woke up around 3:30 this morning.
What did you do?
I did my best to go back to sleep. I'm still on European time, and so the night before was 2:30. This morning was 3:30, and I stayed in bed till 4:30. But I got up at 4:30, and I listened to the cicadas and the crickets for a while, and just took some quiet moments to pray, be thankful and grateful to have a vision for my day and my life and my family, and then I opened up the laptop and got down to business.
Got down to business. Do you have a window in the day where your brain is most connected to the business of being on the planet? Or can you kind of check in at any time?
I think I can. I have pretty good rituals, but I don't think that I work so rigidly. I need some structure, but I need some wiggle room in that structure.
Right.
So I actually have really been enjoying my early mornings for the last 3 mornings after coming back from Europe, because there's just 3 hours of darkness and quietness before. And my girls get up early; they get up at 5, and I'm up, for a while. So
that quiet window is beautiful. I have a lot of chiropractors who come to me and they are no longer experiencing joy. They're not having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Their body hurts because of their biomechanics while they're serving chiropractic. And if our listeners have never been adjusted with somebody who understands the concepts of BGI, or who has studied the MLS way of adjusting, the force, more than anything, it ignites you, it enlivens you, it doesn't take from you if you are on that path. So can you tell us a little bit about what would you say to the chiropractor who's burnout and tired and hurting and financially, physically, love way broke? What do you say? What is MLS all about? How can it serve them?
Yeah. Okay. We've all been lied to. The chiropractic curriculum got hijacked a long, long time ago. And so we're not being taught that. And so just know that right off the bat, that, and when students or youngsters say they have an interest in chiropractic school, I'm like, that's amazing. Join the team, and just know that you're not really going to chiropractic school. You're going to diagnosis and treatment medical school with a side elective of chiropractic. and the curriculum is hijacked and set against you from ever graduating being a joy-filled chiropractor and an empowered chiropractor. So just know that from the beginning. I'm the messenger. Sorry, not sorry. But then do things about it. You know, I was part of my work this morning on the computer was actively, politically being a part of movements behind the scenes to get legislation changed. So don't just complain. Do something about it. And to your point, that the methodology that was shown to me that we have been bringing to the world, that we just brought to Europe, and you know we could keep doing programs, helps you have an experiential understanding of, and the way I like to say it, as I bless, I am blessed. So why is practice so fun? The nature of which we communicate and connect with a human being in that realm of the art of chiropractic is in such a harmonious and cyclical way that every bit of the codes that they get received in the or released in them, and the energy that's released in them, I get it too. So truly, like, I'm drunk all day long. Um, it's wild. Like sometimes I really have to lean against the wall because
Yeah.
like my knees are getting wobbly because I'm
Yeah.
like so drunk with just like overwhelm, because there was just this amazing embodied experience of life and energy and spirit on the table. Now, here's the rub. Part of the lie is says that you're supposed to be doctor, and you get behind that clipboard, and it's all about you. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with you. I'm going to diagnose you, and there's nothing wrong. Yeah, you call me doctor, and don't even look me in the eye. And I'm going to sit up here. You sit down here. And there's practice management companies teaching how to do that, to keep in this domination type of thing. And in order to be able to experience, as I bless, I am blessed, it will require vulnerability and intimacy. And if those two things are not present, then you will be doing things to people rather than serving with them and allowing something greater than ourselves to come through, because truly we can't figure it out. We can't even figure out how this thing necessarily works, but we can know predictably how to get these outcomes with people because we've been doing it for so darn long. And our lives are our own experiment. And it's just, I wish that for so many people, because they got roped into the, not only doing a business model, which is chasing insurance dollars, which is making sure that they fail, or the majority of them do, but roped into a model of it's your job to fix somebody as if they're broken. And that's a huge cross to bear and a massive weight. And I see so many chiropractors, or whether it's PAs or MDs or naturopaths, it doesn't matter, get so burned out. And not only that, they get resentful to the actual profession, which is just a grouping of principles. So it's like being upset with a flower because it grew the wrong direction or something. It's just nonsense.
The profession is a grouping of principles.
Yeah, that's a reminder, right? I'll teach to a bunch of students, and I'll be like, what year was the principal born? And they'll be like 1895, and I'll be like, no. I'll be like, who owns chiropractic? And I'll be like, we do. And I'll be like, no. Sure, D.D. Palmer, he organized all these downloads and all the studies that he had been doing for years. The guy was a savant, and an autodidact, and he organized these principles in a way that had an applicable nature by hand into a philosophy, science, and art that we now call chiropractic. But it stood well before D.D. Palmer ever organized that and officially put a label on it. And it's been refined over time. But, as Arnaud Bernier really helped us see and wake up to by bringing brilliant people like Sue and others to us, that we need a wake-up call, because we're getting swallowed up by the hypnosis of mediocrity, and it's too sacred for that. It deserves better, and our lives deserve better, and we can reap massive rewards that we can't even give words to. And sure, money's a part of that, but though it allows me to do things and have things, that's not the most fulfilling part of when the sacred trust is honored. That really lets me know this is a life that's been lived, and I'm going to come skidding into the finish line all used up.
One of the most fulfilling parts for me is when someone I adjusted as a baby comes to me pregnant. And they just know that it needs to be part of their pregnancy. And that's just a full circle moment. And it's just so, so fulfilling. So let me repeat back a few of the principles or the shares that you gave. And if there's anything else you want to share when I'm done, please do so. Seemingly little dance, multidimensional being and soul, trying to navigate this realm with as much joy and love. Love animals, don't eat them. Enjoy being. Pattern interrupters. The power of I am. Ask questions. Teach through questions. Serendipity and synchronicity journey. The world we live in is one we choose. Practical compass for life. Self-liberation and freedom. Wiggle your toes. Decent at saying no. Boundaries are a big piece of an ambassadorship of the joy-filled way. Birthright of joy. Don't just complain, do something about it. As I bless, I am blessed. Embodied experience of bliss and joy. The profession grouping of principles. We need a wake-up call. Hypnosis of mediocrity and reap massive rewards.
Sums it up. The one that jumps out was, I was so present with everything you said afterwards. It was tough, but what the pattern interrupter, and I love knowing that chiropractors and other people, whether you're serving a pancake at the pancake shop, you can do this as well. We're doctors of second chances. And so it's every adjustment process, but also every interaction in life, every podcast, every is an opportunity. It's a second chance of life. It's a second chance to have a paradigm shift. It's a second chance of forgiveness. It's a second chance of more gratitude. It's a second chance of self-forgiveness and self-love. So these relationships are precious in that way. And certainly we know the chiropractic adjustment process to be one of the most powerful ways we know to offer that second chance to people.
So a lot of people will hear this and think, I don't even know where to start. Like, this guy's intense and what he's saying is intense. And my hope for you is that you hear what Wade just shared and you have the ability to look down at your feet. Just look at your feet. Take a minute and look down, look at your feet and start there and do the next right thing. And I promise you, if you do that, it will show up. And it usually shows up in coincidences, in patterns, like people saying the same word 3 times in one day. Just look for those pieces and that will show you the next right thing. I promise you. And if that doesn't happen, come to me and I'll help you figure out why it's not happening. So Wade, if somebody was to say to you, you know, I'm hearing about what Dr. Jody's doing or what Jody Dirman's doing with the Staffless Practice systems and the practice suite, and I'm thinking about leaning in, I'm not quite sure, what would you say to them?
You know, you're going to attract a certain type of person, and most likely, like a lot of chiropractors, they have some contrarian nature at their core, and they don't quite float the mainstream. And maybe they've tried, and it just isn't panning out. But what I know is when Jody and her team are on your team, there is a tidal wave of energy and passion, and you know, it's a force of nature that she brings, and it's just in that joy-filled and excited way that it's damn the torpedoes. Here we go. And so I just love that it's not status quo, your methodologies, but like, don't make any mistake um, with her nuances and mannerisms on some stuff. Jody means business, and will stop at nothing to make sure that you experience the abundance and joy of bringing your gifts to the world and your family that you can. And so that force of nature for good, it can get harnessed in a beautiful way. So just say yes.
I love your, I love you.
I love you.
I really love you so much. Okay, I'm going to end the stream. And if you are watching this from wherever you are, look down at your feet and start there. You got it. We all have got it, and we've got it together.